Every 2 weeks, something inside me just starts, talking to me or whatever, and it happens.
Relapse is the return to drug use after a period of being drug-free. And it is a cardinal defining feature of the addictions. Even after people have been drug-free for not just days or weeks, but months or years, the tendency to relapse is very strong.
I got sober in 1981 and stayed sober for 17 and a half years through AA, and I had no problem. And then some personal things happened to me in my life, and I just got drunk. And I didn't even think twice about it. And I've been pretty much drunk ever since. And it's been very depressing and very difficult. And I would say I'm at my wit's end.
The problem with these disorders is that despite the extraordinary consequences from these drugs of abuse, the person feels still pulled to return. They've lost so much, and yet in a moment, they make the decision toward drugs, and they make that decision again and again and again.
Maybe I'm not strong enough willed, or I can't figure it out. I mean, it's one of those things that I'm baffled by it. It's frustrating for me to fall back in when I do, because I don't want to, but surely some part of me must want to, or maybe it's just the part that it's not completely out of me. I go through 2 weeks, 20 days. I did have 110 days at one point. And then I picked up a drink, so.
Relapse is not a failure of treatment, it's part of the disorder. So not unlike with hypertension or diabetes or asthma, where you have periods of better functioning and better success, and then you have a period of when things are less well controlled, these are chronic relapsing disorders. So is addiction.
So the strategy is not to give up and say, oh my God, he was doing so well for 1 year and now he's relapsed, that's the end. Absolutely not. So it says, it's very good that he's been able to stay clean for 1 year. Now he's relapsed, let's restart again. Let's bring that person back into a treatment modality. Let's understand what led to the relapse and create a program for that person.
There's something in my head just saying to do it, that craving takes over my body, and I'll pick up and I'll start using again, even though I know it's wrong, and I know I'm not supposed to. It'll happen, and it's so hard to explain. I don't know what words to use for it. It's like torture, really is.
You'll start to bargain with it, to trying to simmer it down. And usually that's what happens. I end up striking a bargain. And the bargain will be, all right, instead of going through all this gnawing, we'll relieve this by, look, you'll just take this much and you'll only do that amount. But the trick in the bargain is that there is no such thing as that. If I get started, I do not stop until it's over.
What is it about this feature of the disorder, relapse, that we don't understand? We're clearly not targeting it well enough. We clearly don't know enough about it to impact it. We better see where relapse lies. And for me, that was in the brain, to understand why the pull, what happens that our patients lose this struggle. In the brain, we have these two important systems. The GO system, the ancient GO circuit, for helping us respond to natural rewards that are so important for our survival. And the STOP system, the more recent frontal lobe system, that's important for helping us consider when it's important not to go, not to act on the pull of that reward. when things are working right, the go circuitry and the stop circuitry really are interconnected and really talking to each other to help you weigh the consequences of a decision and decide when to go or not to go. So it's not that they're separable, they're interactive, they're interlinked at all times. It's just that it's interesting with our patient situation, it is as though they have become functionally disconnected. It is as though the go system is sort of running off on its own, is a rogue system now, and is not interacting in a regular, seamless, integrated way with the stop system.
The craving part is the worst to me, because if I crave, I'm fighting, and I go isolated somewhere and try to just, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to win one time. But I've never won yet.
The stop circuit is not able to do its job for a proportion of people. It is as though they are all about the go, and stop and the ability to stop has somehow been really compromised. One of the really interesting things is, has exposure to the drug compromised the brakes? Sort of like rubbing out the linings on the brakes, and so that now it's really harder to stop than it would have been if you had never used the substances? And, or do people come into the world with brakes that aren't so great? Or both? And we think it's probably both.